Picture this. You wake up Monday morning, hit snooze twice, drag yourself out of bed, and think, just 4 more days until Friday. You're making $75,000 a year, more than your parents ever made, but somehow you're living paycheck to paycheck. You've got $8,000 in your checking account, you feel like you're doing okay, but you can't seem to save more than a couple $100 a month. And here's the kicker. Your coworker just got a $10,000 raise, and you know for a fact that within 6 months, they'll be in the exact same financial position they're in right now. Sound familiar? Yeah, that's because you're caught in what I call the salary trap. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how the system is designed to keep you poor, and more importantly, how to break free from it. My name is Nate, and I spend way too much time thinking about why smart people stay broke despite making good money. If you're someone who makes a decent income but can't figure out why you're not getting ahead financially, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because here's the thing, what I'm about to share with you isn't taught in schools, your HR department definitely doesn't want you to know it, and it goes against everything you've been told about career success. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. Look, let me start by saying something that's going to sound controversial. Your salary is the biggest obstacle to building wealth. Now, you might be thinking, wait, Nate, that doesn't make sense. Don't I need to make more money to build wealth? And that's exactly the trap I'm talking about. That's the lie that keeps you running on the hamster wheel. Here's what most people don't realize. According to a study published in The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley and William Danko, most people who make $100,000 or more actually have a net worth lower than what their income would suggest. They studied over 500 millionaires and found that the majority of them never earned 6 figures in a single year. Think about that for a second. The people making huge salaries are often broker than people making half as much. How is that possible? Because the system doesn't reward high earners, it rewards owners. And there's a massive difference between those two things. Let me break down the math for you because this is where it gets really interesting. Let's say you're making $75,000 a year. Sounds pretty good, right? Middle class, comfortable living. You're not rich, but you're doing okay. Here's what that actually looks like. Gross income, $75,000. Federal income tax, 22% bracket, minus $12,000. State income tax, average 5%, minus $3,750. FICA, Social Security, plus Medicare, minus $5,737. Take-home pay, $53,513. So already you're down to about $4,460 a month. But we're not done yet. Rent/mortgage, 30% of take-home pay, minus $1,338. Car payment, minus $450. Car insurance, minus $150. Health insurance, your portion, minus $200. Groceries, minus $400. Utilities, minus $200. Phone, minus $80. Internet, minus $60. Gas, minus $200. Student loans, minus $300. That's $3,378 in basic expenses. You're left with $1,082 a month for everything else: eating out, entertainment, clothes, unexpected expenses, and, oh yeah, saving for retirement and emergencies. But here's where the trap really kicks in. You get a raise, you're crushing it at work, you get promoted, and now you're making $90,000. Congratulations, you just jumped up a tax bracket. Now you're taking home about $62,000 or $5,167 a month. You've got an extra $700 a month in your pocket. Finally, you can breathe, right? Wrong. Here's what actually happens, and I want you to be honest with yourself because this is probably you. You upgrade your apartment because, hey, you deserve it. That's an extra $300 a month. You lease a nicer car because the old one was embarrassing to park at the office. That's an extra $200 a month. You start eating out more, maybe get that gym membership you've been putting off, subscribe to a few more streaming services. Before you know it, that extra $700, it's gone. You're making $15,000 more a year and you don't feel any richer. You might actually feel more stressed because now you've got these higher fixed expenses that you have to cover every month. This is called lifestyle creep, and it's the silent killer of wealth building. There's actually a term for this in behavioral economics. It's called the hedonic treadmill. Basically, as your income increases, your expectations and desires rise in tandem, which keeps you at the same level of happiness. But here's what they don't tell you. It also keeps you at the same level of broke.
According to a 2023 survey by Paycheck to Paycheck Research, 60% of Americans making $100,000 or more still live paycheck to paycheck. Let me say that again. People making six figures, enough to be in the top 30% of earners in America, can't come up with $1,000 for an emergency without going into debt. That's not a money problem, that's a system problem. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Nate, I get it. Lifestyle creep is bad. But why is this a trap? Why does the system want this? Oh man, this is where it gets really dark. Let me pull back the curtain for you. The entire modern economy is built on consumption, not production, not savings, consumption. The government, corporations, banks, they all need you to spend money to keep the machine running. They need you to be a consumer, not a saver. Think about it. Every raise you get makes you a more valuable employee and a better consumer. You pay more in taxes, the government loves that. You borrow more money for bigger houses and nicer cars, the banks love that. You spend more on products and services, corporations love that. You know what they all hate? When you save money, when you invest, when you build wealth. Because when you save, that's money that's not circulating in the economy. When you invest, you're building your wealth, not theirs. When you achieve financial independence, you stop being dependent on the system. Let me give you a concrete example. The average American has about $90,000 in debt, mortgages, student loans, car loans, credit cards. That debt generates interest, lots of interest. The average credit card interest rate right now is about 24%. If you're carrying just $5,000 in credit card debt and making minimum payments, you're paying about $100 a month just in interest. That's $1,200 a year going to the bank for the privilege of having borrowed money. Multiply that across millions of Americans, and you're talking about billions of dollars in interest payments every single year. That's not going into your pocket, that's going into shareholders' pockets. And here's the really messed up part. The system is designed to make this feel normal. You're supposed to have a car payment. You're supposed to have a mortgage that takes 30 years to pay off. You're supposed to carry a balance on your credit card. That's just how things work. Except it's not. That's how things work if you want to stay poor. Let's discuss the tax trap. Look, we need to talk about taxes for a second because this is probably the biggest scam in the whole system, and most people don't even realize it's happening. When you work a W-2 job, which is what most people do, you pay the highest tax rate possible, and you pay it on everything you earn. There's no way around it. The money gets taken out before you even see it. But here's what most people don't realize. That's not how wealthy people pay taxes. Warren Buffett famously said that he pays a lower tax rate than his secretary, and he's right. You know why? Because salary income is taxed completely differently than investment income. Let me show you the math. If you make $100,000 in salary, you're paying federal income tax, approximately $18,000, FICA, approximately $7,650, state tax, approximately $5,000. Total, approximately $30,650. That's a 30.65% effective tax rate, almost a third of your income gone. Now, let's say you make $100,000 in long-term capital gains. That's when you sell investments you've held for more than a year. You know what you pay? Federal capital gains tax, approximately $15,000. State tax, approximately $5,000. Total, approximately $20,000. That's only 20%. You just saved $10,650 on the same amount of income just because of how you earned it. But wait, there's more. If you own a business, you can write off expenses. Your home office, your car if you use it for business, your phone, your internet, your meals with clients, your travel, even your health insurance in some cases. When you're a W-2 employee, you can't write off anything. You pay full price for everything with after-tax dollars. This is what Robert Kiyosaki talks about in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The rich don't work for money, they make money work for them. And a huge part of that is understanding how to legally minimize your tax burden. The system is literally set up to extract the maximum amount of money from employees while allowing business owners and investors to keep more of what they make. It's not a conspiracy, it's just how the tax code works, but nobody teaches you this. Okay, so you might be thinking, well, Nate, what about my 401k? I'm investing for retirement, right? That's building wealth. Yes and no. Let me explain. The 401k system is actually a relatively new invention. It was created in 1978, and it was never meant to be the primary retirement vehicle for Americans. It was supposed to be a supplement to pensions. But companies realized they could save a ton of money by killing pensions and pushing everyone into 401ks. Here's why this is a trap. First, your 401k is locked up until you're 59 and a half. Try to take money out before that? 10% penalty, plus you pay income taxes on it. So if you're 35 and you need $10,000 for an emergency, that's actually costing you closer to $14,000 when you factor in taxes and penalties. Second, you're contributing pre-tax dollars, which sounds great, right? But here's the thing. You're going to pay taxes on that money when you withdraw it in retirement. And what's the bet you're making? You're betting that your tax rate will be lower in retirement than it is now. But think about it. If you're successful, if you build wealth, if you have multiple income streams, why would your tax rate be lower? And do you really think taxes are going down over the next 30 to 40 years with the national debt at $34 trillion and climbing? You're essentially giving the government an interest-free loan and betting that they'll charge you less later. That's not a great bet. Third, and this is the big one, you don't control it. Your 401k is invested in mutual funds that you don't choose. Your employer chooses the options, managed by people you don't know, with fees that you don't see because they're hidden.